Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for a special video. Today we'll be taking a look at some recent action figure acquisitions. So I'm kind of on this like vintage toy kick right now, so I'm like hunting down old action figures I used to have. I used to have both of these figures mint on card back in the day, but then many years ago I sold a lot of my older Batman DC carded figures, and ever since then I've always regretted it. This is an action figure I do have loose somewhere in my collection. I don't remember where it is, but I did want one mint on card. So when the opportunity arose and this popped up at one of my local toy shops, I picked it up. Speaking of toy shops, I purchased all three of these at one of my local collectible toy outlets, which is called Wax Packs Records and Toys, and it's located in Roselle, Illinois. So if you live in the Chicagoland area, I highly suggest you check that place out. It's awesome. Okay, so let's get to these action figures. First off, let's start with the Riddler. Alright, so this is an action figure. Like I said, I used to have this back in the day, mint on card. I was very fond of this line, Legends of Batman. It was pretty cool. I remember these were kind of almost like a little bit more of the on the premium end of like the Kenner Batman action figures. These were a slightly larger scale than the mainline release. And I don't know, there's just something about these toys, they really take me back. Like at my mall back in the day, we used to have a Warner Brothers store. And occasionally the Warner Brothers store would be privy to like exclusive Legends of Batman figures. And me and my buddy JC, we'd always hit that store up and I'd always be looking for new figs. And this was one of them. And I always loved this figure. This figure was great. On the back, it's kind of cool. The history of the Legends of Batman. They kind of have a small bio on the Riddler. It's really cool. They give you like colored instructions on how to use his weapons. And then here's some other figures in the line. Yeah, if any of these figures ever popped up, I'd definitely buy them. I definitely want Night Sent Batman. I'm a big fan of Azrael and the Nightfall Batman. One of the later versions of Nightwing, I dig that. It's not Disco Nightwing, but it's close enough. I have Crusader Batman somewhere in my collection. I can't remember where. I gotta hunt it down. And then I've run into this a couple of times. The Batmobile from this line. It's very inspired by artist Simon Bisley's interpretation of the Batmobile. It's pretty cool. But I've never found one like in really decent shape. If I ever run into one, unless like it doesn't have to be pristine, it just has to be like almost complete and not too like beat up. But that's something that's on my radar also. Yeah, this is a fun toy line. This came out back in 1995. I'm really excited to like re-add this back to my collection. The card's pretty nice. It's not too banged up, and I'm happy about that. Up next, we have the villainous Joker. The Joker with snapping jaw. This card's a little bit bent in certain areas, but for the most part, it's pretty decent. The bubble's still intact. I remember I always had kind of like a love-hate with this figure. Like, there's parts about this figure I really loved, but then there's stuff about this figure I really hated. But I'm glad to re-add him back to my collection. I always thought it was a nice sculpt, but his face was always kind of hit or miss with me. Like, it looked pretty cool from like a far distance, but then when you got closer, it just looked kind of really creepy and weird. I don't know. It almost looks like Gilbert Godfrey in some sort of weird way, but I don't know. I think that's part of the figure's charm. I always loved how they came with like a trading card also. That was neat. This figure also came out in, this one was 1994, so this one is a year before. This might have been the first wave, possibly. Yeah, really excited to have this figure back too. So, I mean, not that I need all of them, but if I could get like at least one or two more of these Legends of Batman figures mint on card, I'd be happy. I kind of just want like a handful of these. Right now, I'm just going through this weird like nostalgia kick. I just want to hunt down some vintage toys that I had back in the day, and I'm a big sucker for stuff that's still on card. Not because of the value, but more so because I just love the package design. It really takes me back. For me, I've said this many times before. The card and the boxes, it's for me, it's like part of the whole action figure experience. Kind of dates the figure, kind of dates the time period. Yeah, I'm really excited to have the Joker back in my collection. And lastly, we have Batgirl from Batman and Robin. Yeah, I'm excited to have this one too. I really want to find some figures from the Batman Forever toy line. Like, I love Batman and Robin. I love that movie, and I love the red carded design. I think it looks cool. It's very eye-catching, but if I could find some of the figures in the previous releases, I'd love to have those. This is a fun action figure. It's really cool. I actually have one loose somewhere in my house. I don't know where it is. I gotta hunt it down, but I remember this figure, being really stoked to have like a Batgirl that looked awesome. Her accessories are kind of weird, but that's part of the playability of it. Yeah, this is cool. Lots of cool figures. I would love to have the Mr. Freeze and the Bane, if I could find those. So this came out in 1997. That's such a long time. That seems like a lifetime ago, but then every now and then it feels like it was just like yesterday. I was in college at the time. I'm still hunting down toys. Yeah, very cool. Alright, yeah, so let's wrap this video up. I'm on the hunt for toys, vintage toys. I want to get some old Batman toys. I want to hunt down some old Marvel Toy Biz stuff. If I can afford it, maybe some vintage Jakks wrestling action figures. Those kind of go for a lot of money, sometimes. But if I can find them for decent prices, I might pull the trigger. But for now, I'm just happy to have these. These are awesome. It's kind of cool to be hunting down old toys. I'm kind of burned out on stuff like Marvel Legends. I'm burned out on that. I'd be more interested in Star Wars Black Series if they're more readily available. I don't know what's going on with Hasbro, but I haven't seen a new Marvel Legends, a new Star Wars Black Series figure in a long time. I always see the same like 2 or 3 figures at every store. The McFarlane toy line, I'm really stoked on. Their DC Multiverse and their Witcher and Mortal Kombat figures are awesome. But for me right now, I like collecting that stuff, but man, there's just something about these older toys. It really takes me back. Sometimes your memories are just really priceless. Alright, with that being said, once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for continued likes, comments, and support. I greatly appreciate it. So, until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I will talk to you at the next one.